Good evening, everyone. Can we have a quick sound check? Okay. I hope everyone's had a good session today. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the market profile outlook for the week. And we're going to start off, with a bit of order flow. And then, we're going to steamroll, straight into the market profile outlook for the coming week, the coming settlement. It's the last week of the series of April. So there is a lot of exciting prospects, a lot of short which came in through last week, short covering in the past 2 days. And there is a lot more which can happen in the duration of the week which is there. Just before we get started, a bit of housekeeping for those who are coming into this webinar for the very first time. Wherever you have logged in from, this is going to be now regularly done on a Monday at 5 p.m. and on a Thursday at 5 p.m. And our mission over here is just to demystify the world of trading, to bring to you what we understand about the markets, and what we understand is basically market profile and the order flow. And this is an opportunity to follow along, get better at what we already know or what we are planning to know, that is the business of trading. And then it's also a forum to ask questions and to seek clarifications, and not to have a little bit of most people have doubts in their heads and they do not bring it out, and that reflects in trading, etc. We are trying to make it transparent, make it visible, such that everybody follows along. And then we have a medium where we can ask questions, and then clarification and bringing in knowledge, bringing in information tends to give you a lot more in terms of results. Right. So I basically been trading for a very long time, and this is what I understand about trading. It's all about knowledge sharing. The lack of knowledge, and in fact even half knowledge, is what is detrimental to us as traders. If you do not know something, it's best to avoid putting money to it. That works for the market as well. That works for the systems you trade out of. Do not enter anything with half a mind or half the knowledge of what you are doing. Enter it with your full strength, full might, fully knowing what you are doing, and then you would see those results work better for yourselves. Right. So I have on screen an order flow chart today, and I just wanted to address a few queries which some of you had over what was the order flow action over the past few days. Right. And my colleague Uttam is going to join me in a few minutes, and we're going to be speaking about the market profile outlook and what tomorrow and day after and Thursday and Friday hold for us after the second short covering move up of today. Right. So this is the order flow chart I am looking at, and this is the day today. So into today, a little bit of context is required. Into today, we all knew, and I spoke about this on Friday. Friday's tape had a lot of dominant shorts in it. There was no aggressive market orders. There were no initiative sellers, but the market was sold in on the rise. So that early longs got covered here around this 21,900, 980 zone. Those longs had come here, but late into the session, especially around 1:45 2 p.m. they were selling the entire rise to about 22,170. So all these shorts have been created with a substantially big cut, and that was in the zone of 22,114 to about 22,170. So into the session today, and it was a gap up today. It went against the position held by these traders, all of them. Into the session, all of these were upside down. Upside down is a situation where the market goes against your position. It is not the first time it happens, and it happens to virtually every single trader out over there. It's a situation which a lot of institutions, which a lot of smart money also finds themselves in. So you cannot really predict gaps, and you cannot really predict what the geopolitical scope out over there is. Right, something can happen overnight and it can upset a few things, and then what was at the close today would be very, very different at the open tomorrow. So this is one of those possibilities we always work with as traders. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is written in stone. This is a business of probabilities, and it's a business of possibilities, right? And if the market goes your way, you capitalize, you make profits, you make green MTM, you make money. If it does not go your way, you have to have a plan B, and you have to know a way to adjust, right? So into the open today, I was looking at this level of about 22,170F, and the market gapped up above this 22,170F, and in this gap up today, the first thing which a lot of money did was they covered some of their shorts right here. Right at this gap up you can see that the COT is gone green in the first 30 minutes of trade. That is some of the money pushing the getting pushed into covering for a loss. And again I want to emphasize over here that all these positions which were built on Friday close, they covered at a loss, and loss is something which a lot of traders have used to. There's nothing which will work 10 out of 10. There's nothing which will work practically at all times. The market found some selling and tried to push lower. 22,186 it's where it went to. I was watching that 22,170, but there was not really a lot of selling which came in over here, right? And then when the market went back to VWAP at the end of the C period, in the D period onwards, we saw a lot of covering happening. And you can see that most of the short which was built up here on Friday started covering and in the D, E, F and G periods right up to about 12:15, 12:15 to about 12:45, and then COT went green. There was no initiative buyers again, and the market put in a move higher into the close. So they basically had about what 70 to about 110 point loss in the morning after covering all those positions, but they went green around this 22 240 250 zone, and then they added longs and finally were able to push the market to about 22 390 395. Now there is an important concept over here about smart money and the way they operate. They accept that a market is not favorable to their position. So what they do is they jump out of that position. This is the major learning from the order flow charts of today, that smart money was caught upside down, but they did not hesitate to book a position in a loss. They reversed that trade and went straight into profits, right? So this is a situation which we also find ourselves in as traders, but we tend to hold into our positions and we do not really read what the market wants to do. They understood that the market wanted to climb up higher into 22,390, 22,400, and they adopted and they adapted to the message of the market and built a position for themselves on the long side, and then they could come out. So they didn't make a lot of money today, but what they definitely did was that they covered some of that loss which they had because of the higher open, right? And it's not that these people have not made money. We have seen them build a lot of shorts, right? Through the last 1 week, they have built in a lot of shorts from a level of about 22,750. So down, that entire move of last week was driven by initiative selling. So this was the second big seller I had seen on the 15th of April, the initiative selling candle. But prior to that also, they've started selling this market from this level of 22,650, where this big supply has come, right? So sorry, not 22,650, 22,750 is where they had started selling this market. And even though that last bit of that position is gone into a loss, these guys have made a lot of money by virtue of their recognition that this market wanted to go long. So there were two IS bars which came up at about 22,750, initiative sellers, which came up as 22,750, and a second one, okay, came in at about 22,450. And this is the level, okay, we'll be watching going forward, whether, okay, there is a initiative seller coming back into the market again. Right here, this is the second of those sellers, okay, which came in. Eventually both these sellers, okay, got to a level of about 21,800 in the Nifty. So this is, okay, what you need to know, that even though, okay, that last bit of the position was in a loss, the sellers have come in at much higher levels, and the perception is that if price, okay, goes back, okay, to this level of about 22,450, we are not very far from there. They may make an attempt, okay, to come back again. The thing about the bounce of the past 2 days, it's not coming on any significant initiative buying. Okay, so it still is a oversold bounce. The market, okay, went down, okay, about 1,000 points in 5 days, and because of that, okay, we've seen, okay, the market, okay, come back, okay, and reverse. It's back at about 22,400, but if it gets back into 22,450 tomorrow again, okay, you have to, okay, watch, okay, for possibilities out over there of what this market intends to do. Caught, okay, was good on the spike higher. We had, okay, about 3,000 order caught in the spike higher, but anything about 22,400, 450, again, okay, watch your order flow to see, okay, where it wants to do. Right, so this was a little bit about an order flow. We'll do a complete order flow session in one of these one or two, okay, sessions which are coming up. For today, we want to look at everything, okay, from a market profile perspective. We want to understand, okay, what the market profile wants us to know about the market, and for that, okay, I'll have my colleague Uttam. He's going to join me. He's going to be talking to us, okay, about the market profile representation of what is expected over for tomorrow, for Wednesday, and for Thursday. So I'll hand it over to Uttam. He's going to join me and discuss, okay, about the market profile aspect.
Thank you, Shai. Thank you and welcome everyone. A quick sound check. Am I audible? Thank you, guys. So, in furtherance to what Shai had spoken about the order flow of Nifty futures, I would start with the spot monthly chart of Nifty, which is on screen right now. And this is just to know what we have done for the month of April and where are we standing right now. Because we are very close to the end of the calendar month. This is a spot chart. So this will close only on the coming Tuesday, which is the 30th of April. So just to see what we are doing on the spot monthly chart, you can see the Nifty opened and went on to clear these poor highs of March, and we made new highs, but again we have left similar highs in April also. 22775 and 22678 I think are the highs. Sorry, 22775 and 22768 are the highs, I think. And after which we went on to probe lower, complete the 80% rule in previous month's value 21777. So you can see the low of this 21777 is taken from the previous month's value, which was from 21793. So this is why it is very important, and this is why we follow the top to bottom approach in at VTrender, where we watch the monthly chart, then the weekly, and then come down to the daily chart. So I'll just zoom this. So is it slightly better? So this is the March month, and this is the March month's value. We opened above March month's value in April. We made couple of attempts in the C and D TPOs to get into the uh, value of previous month, but we were not successful. We were getting rejected. Why we were getting rejected? How can we say that? Because the close on the daily basis was above this value, which was at 22379. So after which we went on to make these new highs, and then we remained above this rollover point. This blue dashed blue line is the rollover point, which is at 22607 for this April series, and this orange dotted line is the VWAP of March, and this yellow bold line is the POC of March. So these are the references we watch on a monthly chart, so that we know on the higher time frame what the auction is trying to do. So the first week and 10 days were kind of bullish, but once we broke this rollover point, it the scenario changed. The auction told us that the PLR, the path of least resistance, is now changed to the downside. So what we did was we broke below this, and then we made new lows for the month. We broke the VWAP of previous month, and then finally we tagged the POC. But what we did on Friday was, when we opened with a big gap down and we tested this buying tail in the on the daily time frame. So that gave us an indication that the downside is done and we can expect a bounce. So from there we have come back a good way. And on the monthly time frame, what we are doing is forming a neutral profile, because the first attempt was to the upside, then we made extension to the downside, and right now we are consolidating in the middle. So this POC of this month, which is a 22493, it will be one important level in spot for this week. So this will also match with the futures chart, because coming into expiry, the futures and spot will kind of overlap. So 22493 would be one reference. We have a selling tail in futures on the 15th of April. I'll come to that. I will show you that futures chart when we discuss about that. So this reference would be very important, 22493, and both in spot as well as futures. Whereas on the downside, today's auction was above this VWAP of 22168. And if we come back to what happened last week, we had left one FA in spot at 22153, which got negated. So the 22153 level had become a swing reference, and we had discussed about this in last week's session also on the FA. So if you see on Friday, we stalled right at that FA point. 22153 was the FA, and I think we made a high of 2214, 22147. We closed at. We although we did go above the FA, but we are not able to close above that FA point. And today you can see we have opened above that and we remained above that FA point. Although we have formed a narrow range on the daily, what we have done is we have got accepted above the 22153 and we have made a small spike higher into the close. So on the downside, that 22153 would be our reference along with today's POC, which is at 22293 in spot. And we can expect one test of this 22493 going forward in this week. So this is as far as the Nifty spot is concerned. So we are looking at this 22493 and this 22607 as our references on the upside for this week, for this expiry. And downside, as I mentioned, this 22168 along with this POC would again be our support levels. So quick move on to the Bank Nifty monthly chart. And even in the Bank Nifty monthly chart, what we got is we got a trending move in the first half of the month. We made new all-time highs, and then we kind of reversed that move, and we went on to negate the entire rise. We went on to test our rollover point, which was at 47190, and the VWAP, which is at 47051. So similar to Nifty, what we did on Friday was we left a nice responsive buying tail on the monthly, and on the daily we have had a good initiative buying tail. So this is kind of mark the end of the downside. And in Bank Nifty, the POC on the monthly time frame is at 47510. So which explains the reason why we got that FA in that 48,000 put today. If people are not aware, I had posted this on Twitter also. 48,000 put had given us a FA failed auction at 539. So it made a high in the C period, which was rejected, and then we made on to make a range extension in the F period downside. So it has given us a neutral extreme profile down, and it went on to make a low of I think 210 into the close. So this tells us why we got an FA right at the point where the spot was nearing to 47,500. We can see this seaside extension in the spot chart, which got rejected. Although in the spot chart we have not extended above the IBH, the futures has left a FA at 47596, which will be our reference. I'll come to the futures chart in a bit, and we will see the exact levels on futures in both Nifty futures as well as Bank Nifty futures. So going forward for this week's expiry, the monthly expiry, this 47,500 would be important support in spot. So any dip we get towards this level would be an important one to take note of. And if we get some responsive buying activity or initiative buying activity here, we can say that the buyers are defending this level. On the upside, we have the scene of crime. 48255 is one level on the upside which Bank Nifty will have to take out, above which we have this big ITPO's halfback, which is at 48680. So these were today's POC of 47827. So this is as far as the spot is concerned. I'll now move on to the futures. Nifty futures, quick display of how we can track when the market is in a trending mode and when the market is changing from a imbalance to a balance, and from when we have to uh, change our view. So here and we have something known as anchored KRLs on the V-Trender charts, which can help us to track these important references. So how we do that? I'll just make a quick display of how we do that. As we all know, 9th of April was the day where we made those new all-time highs at 22845 in Nifty futures. So that was an FA point. So what I have done is, from that FA point, all you need to do is do a right click on the profile and create custom KRL. So once you go for that custom KRL link, you will get this box, and it will give you what it'll ask you what you want to do. So what I have done is I have clicked on the anchored VWAP box, and the description is the swing high, and the starting date is 9th of April. And I have kept the color as red because this is from a swing high. So we will need this VWAP as a supply point, supply reference. We will use it as a supply reference. So once after the FA, we started making lower value. We did not take off this FA. We are looking at downside. So this anchored VWAP, which will keep shifting after each days, would keep us in state that till what level the auction needs to be below for the PLR to be on the downside. So we were below this VWAP all the time. Even on the 15th of April, you can see when we made those highs, the VWAP was much higher. And then we went on to break new lows. We opened with a gap down on 16th of April. We left a small responsive buying tail in the I period, but then again that was broken out. So I'll now quickly concentrate on this 18th of April's profile, where this C period extension, a 22170, gave us an FA, and this FA went on to make a high of 22342. So what it was trying to close this gap, and it got rejected, stalled right below that gap. And from here, the seller came back strongly and they pushed it lower, leaving a neutral extreme day. They negated this failed auction of 22170, and we formed a neutral extreme down profile. So VWAP of this day was an important reference, which was 22183. And then we went on to open with a big gap down lower on the 19th of April. So what we did on the 19th of April was, you can see we made these new lows, and we had this HVN at 21840. So from here we made multiple range extensions on the upside, and we went on to take off this POC of 18th, which was the neutral extreme, and we stalled right at this FA point of 22170. The high we made on Friday was 22168. So it indicates how important the FA concept is. And today what we did was we opened higher, and in the dip we made a low of 22186, which I already showed on the order flow chart. So you can see how we are seeing change of polarity here. This VWAP of the neutral extreme day, which was a resistance point on Friday along with this FA, was now acting as support. So from here we went on to make higher highs in the D, E and F periods, and then the dip again took support at the POC, and then we went on to spike higher into the close. So now you can see this red dash line. This is the VWAP, anchored VWAP from the 9th of April, 22339. So we have made a spike right at that level. So going forward for this week, this would still remain our reference on the downside. Not, this is not, no longer a reference on the upside, but this will need to act as a support, just like this VWAP acted. 22182 acted as support today. Similarly, this will need to hold in the coming session starting from tomorrow, 22339. If you see, even the low of M period today is a 22338. So going forward, that would be our first support level. And then you have this extension handle at 22308 today. We had two extension handles. The first one was at 22307, and then we have this L period which broke out, giving an extension handle at 22320. So this zone would be our support zone along with today's VWAP, which is a 22277, and the POC, which is a 22234. So now, but this would be the important reference which we would be looking out for tomorrow. If we remain above this VWAP, what are the higher references? So one would be the spike high. Because we have closed in a spike, we have the spike rules in play. The spike rules state that we will have to first mark the spike zone, the high and the low of the spike. Above the spike, we would be bullish. Below the spike, we can expect a retracement. In the spike means it is getting accepted, which is also a bullish sign. So there is more chance of the probe to continue on the upside. So going forward, if we take off this 22396, our references would be the VWAP and the VPOC from 15th of April. So Shai also showed us on the order flow charts where we had big selling coming in at this level, and why we need to be careful when we come back at this point to see if sellers are adding back. So this 22454 would be our reference on the upside. And as I had mentioned, the 22492 selling tail matching with that level of spot, the monthly POC of 22493 in spot, is right at this G period high of 15th. So these would be our important reference on the upside, not just for tomorrow, but for the entire week. So as and when we keep taking out these levels, we can expect the auction to continue higher. So as for the downside, now what we can do is, because we have this big swing low in place, what I have done now is I have added another anchored VWAP from the 19th of April. So I've taken that as the swing low. 21813 was the low of that day, and from there I have plotted this anchored VWAP. So this anchored VWAP as of now is at 22080. So tomorrow when we open, and if we are in the neutral zone, we will see where this anchored VWAP is, and we will have to look for some buying to come back at that zone. So this is how we use these anchored VWAP preferences, and they help us a lot to uh, take up and identify good trade setups. So which is why now, right now, as on the higher time frame, we have seen that we are in a neutral setup. So we will need both these VWAPs, and we will need to see which of the VWAP is taken out and how much the auction can progress in that direction. So I would take a quick break now, break here for any queries before we move on to the Bank Nifty futures chart and discuss the references of that going forward for this weekly expiry. So if there are any questions, please let them out, guys. Great. So just to make a quick recap, going forward for tomorrow as well as this week, 22339 would be our reference. On the downside, the immediate support. Along with this, we have the extension handle at 22307 and then today's VWAP of 22277. So these would be the immediate zone of support. Whereas on the upside, above this spike high, we are looking for a tag of this VWAP and the VPOC of 22454, where we had got good selling on the 15th of April. So let us take it day-to-day basis and see how we are closing tomorrow for further uh, moves ahead. So as there are no queries coming in, I would quickly move on to the BankNifty futures chart so that we can discuss about what is happening in that and what is the so you have the April Bank Nifty futures chart, daily futures chart on screen right now. And we can see the 10th of April was where we made those new all-time highs and swing high of 49086 in Bank Nifty. So, and we can see this HVN at 49060, which was very clearly telling us even in the order flow on the 10th of April, we had huge red caught. We had almost 20,000 red caught going into the close. The last 4 to 5 30-minute TPOs was showing us huge red caught, just like how Nifty futures had shown us on Friday. And you can see after this red caught, we opened lower. So that was a clear indication that the profit booking as well as the selling which had come in Bank Nifty was pushing the auction to the downside. So what I have done similar to Nifty, I have put in a anchored VWAP right from that level of 10th of April. Audio is fine, guys. Am I clear? There was one query asking that the audio was not clear. I just want to confirm if everyone is able to hear me. Great, thanks. Thank you, guys. So I moving forward. So as I was explaining, I have installed in the anchor VWAP. Just like the anchored VWAP, we can also put in the anchored VPOC from whichever day we want. So you go with the VWAP because it is the volume weighted average, and that gives us a much refined level of which is based on volumes as well as uh, the auction reference. So I've taken the VWAP from that level and which would be our reference, seeing how long we stay below it. And so we kept moving lower in Bank Nifty. We made this double distribution trend day down on the 18th of April after we made this seaside and left an extension handle here. And then we went on to make a big gap down open on the 19th, where we hit this another swing low. So which is the reason we mark out these swing lows and we track this anchored VWAP from those swing lows and swing highs, because they keep us in check of where previous demand or supply had come, and if they are coming back to defend that zone. So once we hit this POC, VPOC of 46673, we left a buying tail. This was telling us that the demand is coming back in this zone, and whatever shorts had come in Bank Nifty since the 10th of April were booking out. So from here, because this is now a swing low, I have taken a anchored VWAP from that level, and that will act as our reference point for the buyers. So taking today's chart into consideration, I'll just zoom in today's auction process. So what we did was on Friday, Bank Nifty formed a trend day up. So we not only left an A period buying tail, we left multiple extension handles, buy side extension handles, and we went on to complete the 3IB mark, I think, on that day. And we also saw the POC shifting to the top, which was at 47594. So this was a nice 10 day, but yes, it was more of a short covering move. Today's auction was important in the sense we opened gap up, we tagged this anchored VWAP, and we again found selling over there. 47914 was the anchored VWAP when we opened today. So we found supply coming back in this zone, which is why we made lower lows in the B period and made that typical seaside extension. But the seaside extension, in fact, even in the room, we had spoken right at the open that if we uh, get below this zone of 47, uh, I think it was 47950, we can look for a test of that 47600 levels. So here what happened is we took support right at that POC. So in market profile, we give lot of importance to VWAP and POCs, especially of days where one party has a clear advantage. So Friday was one such day where the buyer was in control. So which is why the POC and VWAP of Friday were important references. And this C side, when it could not take off this POC, it was a first indication that the auction is still going for upside. The downside is still limited in this. If this POC would have been broken by an IS in order flow, we would have looked for a test of this extension handles and this VWAP from that day. So when the C side left a failed attempt to extend lower, and then after which D went on to make higher highs. In the F, we made a probe above VWAP but could not sustain. But again, the dip in the H period was still above the IBL. So this probable FA was still in place, and into the close we made high. One important reference for this series, uh, which the Thursday is the Wednesday is the expiry for Bank Nifty. So for the 2 more days, this would be our most important reference in Bank Nifty futures. So this holding, we can expect the auction to probe higher. And one more reason to be a bit bullish is because we have closed above this VWAP. 47914, which was the anchored VWAP from the fall from 10th of April, is now being taken out. So this would be our first reference on the downside. Yes, the POC has shifted to the top, which tells us that the whatever buying had happened maybe, or whatever shorts were trapped, have come out. So this would be our immediate reference, 480910 for tomorrow's open. But this would be the lower supports. This anchored VWAP of 47914 and today's VWAP of 47830 with this HVN of 47731. So this will be our reference on the downside, whereas on the upside, we have this VWAP from 15th of April, which is at 48108, and this POC 48165. So these would be our immediate references on the upside. If we take these zone out till 48200, we will look for this selling tail of 48312, and then the closure of this big gap. So as I had shown on the monthly chart of spot, how we had one reference at that 48660 level. So you can see how in the futures it is overlapping around the same reference. So this would be our references going forward for the Bank Nifty expiry this week. So I'll just take off the questions which we have. So there is a question from Shiva who says BNF made a field auction, but it could not close above the IBH after the adjusted close. Yes. So what we have got in BNF is a spike. Both Bank Nifty as well as Nifty has given us a spike close. So the spike rules would be in play. and the spike zone would be the low of the M period. So we would take the low of the M period as the spike low. So we will need to remain above this. And tomorrow, for any reason, if we are not able to stay above the IBH of 48,000 at open, then we would be little skeptical about this FA. It will still be an FA because it is a seaside and we have closed well above that. So unless and until we break this anchored VWAP and this yesterday's VWAP, we will still be looking as that FA as a swing reference point. And in case we stay above the 48,000, 48073 is our 180R from that FA. And then we can look at 48549 as the second objective. 15th April VPOC is at 48165, so it has not been tagged as of now. So we will have to see how it goes, what signals we get in the order flow when we tag this in case it happens tomorrow. So if we are getting buying signals, then we can look for more upside. So the next question is from Abhishek. He's asking, if today and yesterday was short covering in Nifty with no IBs, why do we expect more upside tomorrow without any IBs in the system? We don't have any initiative buying, as Shai mentioned, but what we have done is we have formed higher value. So we will have to take that reference as our support going forward. So in case we remain above today's VWAP and today's value tomorrow, even the shorts which have been added today, in case they have added, they would be forced to come out, just like how the previous shorts were forced to come out. Even in Bank Nifty, we had seen shorts adding up today, but into the close, when we got that spike higher, we saw those shorts running for cover. So if the sellers are not able to make a headway to the downside, they will be in trouble and they will be caught upside down. So they will be forced to come out, which is why we track these references. And if we remain above today's VWAP and today's POC tomorrow, we can look for more short covering. And for on the other side, in case we get some initiative buying signal tomorrow at the open, then it will add more fuel to the upside. Then it will be even more bullish, the expiry of this week. Santosh is asking if we always use volume based VA for analysis. Yes, Santosh, when we are looking at futures, we always go for volume based analysis because volume precedes price. So without volume, we would not get the range. So higher the volume, bigger the range. So we always go for the volume based for the series wise futures. For higher time frame, the weekly and the monthly, we like to look at the spot charts because there we can look at long term references. So the next question is from Balaji. He is asking, the POC shifted to the top. Is it indicating profit booking? Yes, Balaji, I already mentioned that when I was explaining the charts. Whatever the reason, whether the shorts have pulled out or whether the longs are booked out, the POC is shifted to the top, and that POC of 48,010 would be our opening reference for tomorrow. So if we stay above that 48,010, we can expect more upside, more short covering. And on the downside, we have this anchored VWAP level of 47913 and today's VWAP of 47830, which we'll need to hold. Any break of that can get in more downside. So any more queries, guys? So that is it from my side for now to today, and hope you guys liked the session we had, and we would want to keep continuing and give a follow up to what we discuss in these sessions. And we will have these mentioned, the levels which we have spoken today, we'll have them mentioned in our daily report also. So you can keep a track of the daily report on when it is published. So you will also get even more the right level for the expiry day when it eventually comes. Anchored VWAP. Santosh is asking when we use the TPO value. We use the we use the TPO value for futures. We don't use it. It is just there as an option. The hybrid value can still be used on days where, because of a huge volume which is coming to the close, the POC has shifted to an extreme, whereas the entire day the value had formed at a different level. So in that situation, we can look for using the hybrid value. But for TPO value, we don't have to use the TPO value in the futures chart. TPO value, you can look at spot charts and then accordingly take the TPO values. And we did see, we saw how spot and futures overlap into the expiry, and we had taken the TPO value of the monthly spot chart in Nifty as well as BankNifty. So anchored VWAP, I had mentioned. I'll just quickly run through the same thing. You have to just right click on the date where you want to draw the anchored VWAP, and you get this drop down where you need to go to that create custom KRL. So once you click on that, you will get this box. So you will have to select what you want to do and accordingly put in the description and styling type with the color and click on save. So a quick move of how I have drawn it for the swing low of 19th of April. You can see I have selected the anchored VWAP custom level. Swing low is 46611, and I have taken the line as thick dash line and the green color because this is a support point for us, a demand level. And I have clicked on save. So this is how you draw the anchored VWAP, and this anchored VWAP will stick on to the chart. So once any anchored VWAP gets negated, for example, tomorrow if we remain above this level, we can take off this VWAP because now it is no longer relevant, and we can just continue having this VWAP. So any more questions, guys, before I think we can wrap up for today and get ready for this week's mostly good expiries both in Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty comes first, which is on the day after, which is followed by Nifty. So both are looking good to give us a good expiry, and let us be in sync and see how it goes forward. So with this, I would like to close this session of today, and let us guys catch up again on Thursday at 5 p.m. Once we are done with the expiries, both the expiries, and then we can discuss how the month has gone by. So thank you for joining in, guys. We are logging off for now, and have a great evening.